Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group. Today we're going to do a review of possibly one of my favorite cars, the Acura NSX. And this is the first generation Acura NSX, which was made from 91 to 2005. We have an incredible 1998 example here that we're going to talk about. This is a 1998 one owner Acura NSX-T. This is a 6-speed manual transmission. T stands for target top. It does have the removable roof. In 1995, they started making these NSXs as Targa removable roofs, and then in 2002 they did a facelift where the flip-up headlights, which I happen to love and think is really cool, became regular headlights. The Targa top is super cool, very easy to remove. I'll go ahead and remove this one for you, and you can see one-man job. So it literally just lifts out, really not very heavy. They actually made a place here in the car where you can store it in the back. We'll show you that later. But one of the reasons I love this car is because so many NSXs are heavily modified. So many of this generation NSX you find online, they've had heavy engine modifications, engine swaps, turbochargers, stuff like that. And we tend to chase after the all original cars. This car is as original as it gets. It's the most documented pre-owned car I've ever seen. Literally, the previous owner has an Excel spreadsheet of every dollar he ever spent on the car, excluding getting gas. I mean, insurance, every service receipt, joining the owner's club, buying a new keychain. I mean, it's the most unbelievable set of meticulous records that I've ever seen. One of the amazing things about the way these cars drive and really just handle, they're so nimble, they're so easy to drive. And it's an Acura, it's a Japanese, it's a Honda. I mean, they're incredibly reliable. The biggest thing you need to worry about is timing belt and water pump on these cars. But other than that, you're really looking at a car that can give you a lot of years of service, and it's only going to go up in value. The gentleman that traded in this car actually bought the second generation NSX, which came out in 2016. And the funny part is those cars are depreciating. These cars are actually going up in value. So one of the things that drew us to this particular car, especially because it has 48,000 miles, which is really on the higher side of miles for a collectible by anybody's standards, was the originality and the overall physical condition of this car. I mean, if you look in all of the jams, if you look anywhere in this car, I mean, you can just tell it's 100% original. It's been maintained absolutely to the letter of requirement and beyond. And that's really one of those things that, makes this car with 48,000 miles better than some examples out there with 15,000 miles that may have been modified or that aren't original, or that people have done, some kind of, they haven't done the maintenance or anything like that. This is what the original engine compartment looked like when we got the car. We didn't clean this, we didn't detail this, we didn't do anything to get it to this point. But this is just one of those cars. I mean, as we were sitting here opening these things up today to look at them, I was absolutely just blown away again by how clean all this stuff is. When you go here, here's where you would put your the Targa top that we removed earlier. You have that space there to put that, and then this closes here. But if you look at the interior of the car, we always talk about the interiors and how important it is to make sure that the interior of these cars is nice. Very simple. My first car ever was an Acura Integra with VTEC technology. That's what this had. It's variable valve timing and lift electronic control. It was really impressive technology back then to get all the power out of a 6-cylinder, 270, 280 horsepower car. But if you look at door jams anywhere, there's really hard to find any imperfections in this particular car, which is certainly what we look for. A lot of times you can see a lot of corrosion if these cars have lived in northern climates. Very important. This is where your spare tire goes. It's very important to make sure if you're looking at one of these that it has a spare tire. They're hard to buy or to find them elsewhere. They can be very expensive. The only reason ours is out, it has it, but it's because that's where the battery is, and we keep our cars, certainly the cars that are in our collection, transmission plugged into trickle chargers to make sure that they stay maintained and ready to go. But if you just look at the originality, and again, there's no such thing as a perfect pre-owned car, but when you look at this car compared to so many of the other ones that we look at, its originality made it where it was worth a premium, even though it had a little bit higher miles than we would like. So one of my favorite things about the NSX is the way that it drives. The car is incredibly solid. It's probably one of the best handling cars you can find. Certainly by today's standards, I wouldn't say that it's super fast, but it's amazing how much power is generated out of the VTEC 6-cylinder engine that these things have. Shifting is incredibly easy and smooth, really short throw between the gears, 6-speed manual transmission. In '94, they didn't start making this car with an automatic available. Those cars certainly have less value on the resale market today than the manual transmission cars. But this car, I know a lot of people that used to drive these cars every single day. Air conditioning works great, dual airbags, they're safe. And again, being a Honda, or Acura is owned by Honda, the reliability of them is absolutely spectacular. I was turning the car around in the dealership parking lot earlier. The turning radius is something that'll absolutely blow you away. I mean, the way the car drives and handles really compares more to a go-kart than any other automobile out there. So certainly you can find cars that are faster than this car, but there's really not a lot of cars out there that'll drive and handle and have the same feel of this first generation NSX.